Video I will be showing you how to put a lining into the jacket. I have cut all the lining pieces that I need. Some of the pieces, like the sleeve, you use the same pattern for the lining and the fabric, but you have to cut it a bit shorter, as it says here, cut here on lining. And some of the other pieces, like these ones, they have their own pattern. And you must also remember to transfer the markings, like the dart needs to be transferred and the pleat at the back of the jacket needs to be transferred. Okay, so I have sewn up the lining. So this is all the lining sewn up with the pleat in the back and the dart. And the jacket, what I've done on the jacket, I have blind hem it, so the edges, excuse me, the edges are ready to take the lining. So what the first thing we're going to do, we're going to pin the edges of the lining to the edge of the facing. So we start with the right side of your facing you, and put the right side of your lining edge onto the facing. So the two right sides will be together. So what you will be seeing is the wrong side. And the easiest way I say to start is to pin it from the shoulders. So if I pin the shoulders together, here, and pin the other shoulder together, which is here. So this is all on my facing edge. I'm just pinning the right sides together. Then I'm ready to start. So what you need to do is to pin the facing edge to the lining edge all the way around to the bottom. The areas you will get probably some difficulties on when you're pinning your lining on is on the back neck facing edge, because you've got two different curves. So what I found easier is when you're doing the back neck facing edge is to do some snips in your lining and then stretch the fabric onto the lining. Just stretch them, or stretch one, because the other one will have snips, and then it will be better. So this is this side. The other side, I'm just going to do the snips about 1 centimeter, and then just stretch your lining onto your facing edge and put some pins in there, and that will work very well. Okay, and the other area you may have a difficulty is when you come towards the hem. So this is my hem area. So this is the hem of the jacket and the curved bit, the front. So when you get to here, your lining will probably be a little bit longer than your front facing, but when you get to where the hem is, just put a pin in. Say this is the hem, so about 1 centimeter down, just put a pin in the lining. So this is where you're going to stop sewing. Okay, so you're going to be sewing from this position here all the way around the facing, all the way round until you get to the other end. Okay, I haven't put my pin in yet, but I will do it now. So this is the other end, and I can see this here is where I want the pin. So that's about 1 centimeter from the edge of my hem. So I need a pin there. Okay, so I'm going to go to the machine now and sew on my lining. Okay, so I have stitched my lining on all the way around the edge of the facing, and you can see, I'm just showing you the lining edge here. You can see on the lining where I've made those snips so I could stretch it on the back edge of the facing. And when I was sewing the heavier side up. So the side that's got the interfacing on, the fabric side, I was sewing that way up. So once you've stitched the lining all the way around your facing, just take the lining and bring it round so it's on the right side. So this is the right side. So if I look inside my jacket, it's all nice and neat. You can't see any of the lining edges. And this area here that I said to stop about 2.5 centimeter from the edge of the lining. So when we come to do the bottom, when I'm going to attach the lining to the hem, I'll be working, this will go up and I'll be working with it. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to attach the sleeve edge to the edge of the jacket. So this is my sleeve lining. So at the moment it's just inside. The sleeve is sitting, one sleeve sitting inside, one sleeve is sitting outside. So what you need to do, take the inside sleeve and push it through to the right side. So I could just see the edge of the lining here, and make sure it's laying the right way, that it's not twisted. And what we're going to do next, because it's all laying nice and straight, I'm going to match up one of my seams, as I have two seams in my jacket. So match up one of the seams and turn it in the seam allowance. So I've just turned it in 1.5, and I'm just going to lay it on the seam and put a pin in it. And then I'm going to go to the inside of the jacket to where that sleeve is that I just pushed through, and from the inside of the jacket pull that sleeve out again. Okay, so I'm just pulling the sleeve out, so you're working on the inside, and when I pull it out, I'm pulling it, you should be able to see where I've put that pin. So it's attached at one point, so this is the point that I put the pin, and it's attached. So where it's attached, we need to go to the edges, so just turn it slightly so you're holding the edges, and see if you can take out that pin, or if not, get another pin, which I just had. If not, get another pin and just pin the edges together. But I need to take that pin out because of what I need to do next. So I'm just pulling out the first pin I put in, and then what I'm going to do next is put all the edges together and pin it all the way around, and then sew it all the way around. Okay, so I'm just putting some pins in. So you have your raw edges should be facing each other, and the right sides should be together. Just put some pins in all the way around. Until you come back to the other side. Okay, so I've got it under the machine ready to sew. So make sure that everything's laying flat on both sides. Okay, and so this is where I've done my blind hem, so this is the edge. So sew it around, and every so often stop and pull the whole thing around, because you're sewing a circle. Okay, so you always have to stop and keep moving it around. Which way? This goes this way. and check the way your seams are laying so that they're not twisted or anything. And when you stop to move things around, make sure you keep your needle in your work so your work doesn't move around. And I can see here that this edge is a bit tight, so I'm just going to snip the lining edge so it just releases some of the tension. Okay, so I'm coming back round to the beginning. Okay, so I've just overlapped where I started, and that should be the sleeve sewn on to the lining edge. So once you've joined your lining edge and sleeve edge together, take it to the right side, just turn your jacket to the right side, and this is where the sleeve is that I've just done, and just pull the right side of your sleeve, just pull it through, put your hand down and pull it through until you get the hem. And because it's already hemmed, that's it, it should be looking like this, and this is what it looks on the inside. So once the sleeves are done, you've attached the lining to your sleeves, we are now going to do the bottom hem of the lining. So what we're going to do in a minute is turn the whole of the lining inside out, and we're going to join the two hem edges together, but we're going to leave a hole that we could turn it back to the right side. So turn everything to the wrong side, so I'm just enclosing the jacket inside, so all you should be seeing is the wrong side, and I'm just turning it to the lining side. And what you want to do is to join your hems together. So join the hem of your lining to the hem of your jacket. So I have pinned it all the way round, and I have matched all my seams up together. So the same seam on the lining should be matching up with the same seam on the jacket. And I'm going to leave a hole in the middle here. I'm going to leave this bit here not sewn. That's for me to push my jacket back to the right side. Some people, they may leave a hole in the facing edge. As long as you leave a hole somewhere to push everything back to the right side, it doesn't really matter where you leave the hole. I have sewn my lining to the edge of the jacket from one end to the other. So this is the hem edge, so from there all the way down, and I have left a hole to turn everything through. There's a hole here, so I'll put my hand down this section. So the next thing I want to do is turn my lining through. So what I'm going to do is put my hand through that hole I left between my lining and my jacket. You can't see my hand. And probably just grab the collar. I could feel it's the collar, and just pull the collar, and hopefully everything should come through. Just pull everything through the hole. And push. And make sure you leave that hole big enough. Don't leave a tiny hole, because there's a lot of jacket to come through. So if you push everything through, then everything onto the right side. So you can see the right side here, and I'm still pulling things through. So if you look inside, I'm going to hold it up, look inside the jacket. It's all lined, there's no holes in it, everything's lined, and the only hole I have to sew up is the hole I left here, which I'm just going to hem it by hand. And then remember I told you about the bit on the front facing that should be poking out there. So when I'm also going to push this in and just hem it by hand and let the lining just fall naturally. So it should fall a bit like that. Or you could just you could just fix it so it falls like this and just hand hem it down here. Here I'm just hand hemming the jacket opening. So what I've done is to turn your lining up about 1.3 centimeters and just match the edges together, match the raw edges and just fold it down, and it should be kind of lined up to where it was when you were stitching. And then I've got the needle and I'm just doing a normal hem, so pick a bit from the fabric and a bit from the lining. That's all I'm doing, just a normal hem. Pick a bit from the fabric and a bit from the lining and hem that opening closed. And when you finish, you won't see your stitches, because what's going to happen is that the lining is going to fall down on top of it. I'll show you because I've just done a little bit. So what's going to happen, the lining is going to fall down like this. So this is your lining finished inside your jacket. So this is the front curve bit where I've smoothed the lining down and hemmed through all layers. So it's got a slight pleat and the pleat should drop down, and this is the bit I've sewn up. So when the lining is down, it will come down like this, and I've also done the other end. Okay, so on your jacket lining, there should be no openings or anything, because it should all be sewn up and now ready to put the buttonholes on. And the sleeves, if I turned it inside out, you should see no gaps neither. There is one other thing that I like to do with the lining, the shoulders, where the shoulders are, where your lining has joined. I just like to catch that facing down onto the jacket, but when I'm doing it, make sure you don't see anything on the other side. Just catch it down so everything stays in place, just on your shoulders. Just a few stitches, that's all you need, and it just helps the lining to sit better. So I've done a few stitches here, just a few stitches there, but on the outside you don't see anything.